She read the message 3 times, then locked her phone and told herself she would reply later. That was the moment her life quietly changed, without noise, without drama, and without her realizing it would haunt her forever. Emma Collins had always believed she was a rational person. She planned carefully, thought deeply, and avoided emotional decisions. At 34, she had built a stable life in a quiet suburb outside Chicago, a steady job as a project coordinator, a modest apartment, and the routine that rarely surprised her. From the outside, her life looked peaceful. Inside, it was carefully managed. Emma had learned early in life that emotions complicated things. Growing up, she watched her parents' marriage slowly dissolve, not with shouting, but with silence. Unspoken disappointments, missed chances to speak honestly. Her mother stayed quiet to keep the peace. Her father avoided difficult conversations until it was too late. Emma absorbed that lesson deeply. Silence felt safer than confrontation. Delay felt smarter than risk. When people asked her how she was doing, she smiled and said, "Good, busy but good." It was always true enough. Then one evening, after a long workday, her phone buzzed with a message she hadn't expected. Daniel Harper. They hadn't spoken in nearly 8 years. Daniel was not just an old friend. He was the person who once knew her thoughts before she said them, the person she trusted enough to be quiet around. They met in their mid-20s, bonded over late-night conversations, shared dreams that felt too personal to say out loud. They never officially dated. Life drifted. Timing never aligned. Emma focused on career growth. Daniel moved for work. They promised to stay in touch, then slowly didn't. The message was simple. "Hey Emma, I know it's been a long time. I'm in town for a few days. Would you like to catch up?" Emma stared at the screen. Her chest tightened, not with excitement, but with uncertainty. She thought about the past, about what they never said, about the emotional space she had carefully sealed off since then. She told herself she was older now, more cautious, more controlled. "I'll reply tomorrow," she whispered. She didn't know that silence, once again, was choosing for her. The next day, Emma reread the message during lunch. Her mind began its familiar cycle. What if it's awkward? What if he expects something? What if I reopen something I worked so hard to close? Emma had built her life around minimizing emotional risk. She avoided situations where she might feel exposed or vulnerable. That strategy had protected her, but it had also quietly isolated her. She typed the reply, erased it, typed again, erased again. Hours passed. By the time she checked her phone that night, Daniel's message still waited, unanswered. She convinced herself that not responding was a neutral choice. It wasn't. Days turned into weeks. Eventually, the message slid lower in her inbox, buried beneath work emails and grocery reminders. Life returned to normal, or at least it appeared to. But something subtle shifted. Emma found herself thinking about Daniel at odd moments, while washing dishes, driving to work, lying awake at night. Not about what had been, but about what might have been said if she had replied. She told herself it didn't matter. She was wrong. 3 months later, Emma received another message, but not from Daniel. It was from an unfamiliar number. "Hi Emma, this is Sarah, Daniel's sister. I'm sorry to reach out like this. I just wanted you to know, Daniel passed away last week." Emma reread the message, unable to process the words. Passed away. The room felt suddenly too quiet. Sarah continued. "He mentioned you often over the years. He reached out recently and hoped to see you. I thought you should know." Emma sat on her couch, phone trembling in her hand. Her mind replayed that unread message, the one she had locked away, the one she planned to answer later. Later had never come. She didn't cry immediately. Instead, she felt something heavier, a deep, sinking stillness, a realization that settled slowly but firmly. This wasn't just sadness. It was regret. Not the loud kind, not traumatic, but silent, steady, and permanent. Emma hadn't rejected Daniel. She hadn't said no. She had said nothing. And nothing had cost her everything she never knew she needed. In the weeks that followed, Emma went through the motions of daily life. She worked, she smiled politely, she answered emails. But internally, something fractured. She replayed the moment over and over, staring at her phone, choosing delay, choosing silence. She imagined the conversation they could have had. Not a romantic reunion, not a grand confession, just honesty, closure, connection. The absence of that conversation became its own presence. At night, Emma lay awake questioning her patterns. How many moments had she postponed? How many opportunities had she labeled as not the right time? She began to notice how often she avoided emotional decisions, declined invitations, delayed difficult talks, chose comfort over courage. Her life had become safe, but small. One evening, Emma opened her old messages with Daniel. She reread his final words. "Would you like to catch up?" So simple, so human. Emma realized something painful. Daniel hadn't just been reaching out to reconnect with her. He had been offering her a chance to speak honestly, to be seen, to step out of emotional hiding. And she had stayed silent. That silence followed her everywhere. Grief taught Emma something she had avoided learning her entire life. Silence is a decision. Not choosing is still choosing. Avoiding discomfort doesn't protect us from pain, it only delays it, often until it becomes heavier. Emma began to understand that emotional safety can quietly turn into emotional isolation. That waiting for the perfect moment often means missing the only moment that mattered. She started making small changes. She responded to messages sooner. She spoke honestly when something mattered. She allowed conversations to feel uncomfortable, not because she stopped feeling fear, but because she recognized its cost. Emma couldn't undo her silence with Daniel, but she could honor it by refusing to repeat it. She learned that life rarely gives second chances wrapped in certainty. Most meaningful decisions arrive quietly, without urgency or warning, and once they pass, they don't announce their importance. Emma still thinks about Daniel sometimes, not with crushing sadness, but with clarity. She understands now that regret isn't always about what we did wrong. Sometimes it's about what we didn't do at all. So here's the question she wishes someone had asked her sooner. Who are you staying silent with today? And what might that silence cost you tomorrow?